Welcome to Buzz Talk Live. Tonight's best-selling author, Rick Lakin, of the young adult sci-fi novel Brilliant series, is with us. He's here to discuss the success of his books and his company, iCrew Digital Publishing, which has published 35 books by 11 authors. He also serves as a mentor for young community professionals of media. Rick works as a sports statistician for broadcast television. He's a member of the National Association of Public Address Sports Announcers and Advanced Communicator Gold for Toastmasters International. He lives in Southern California, but his roots are planted in Columbus, Ohio, home of Ohio State Buckeyes. So please use your chats and welcome Rick Lakin to Buzz Talk Live. How you doing, Rick?
Thank you very much, George, for having me on Buzz Talk Live.
No, thank you. The pleasure's mine. Thank you for stopping in. And we're in Southern California. I'm assuming San Diego.
San Diego, south of there in Chula Vista, about halfway between San Diego and the border.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's actually a nice area, isn't it? I mean,
it's all right. I'm on the cooler side, and except the last couple of days when we've had the Santa Ana winds.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's usually pretty cool all year round.
Now you have your power because the last week or so with California, I don't know what's going on over there. You guys are burning up. I don't know.
I'm not in an area impacted by power issues.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we haven't lost power recently.
Thank
but
God.
I know Northern California near the mountains is having a lot of trouble.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the fires too. I mean, it's just crazy. Hey, so thanks for stopping in tonight. You got such a rich history of just doing a lot of stuff, and you're such a professional when it comes to your knowledge, and you're a former educator. High school, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, but it starts in the Navy with you, with your background on a nuclear ship. Is that correct?
Correct.
So can you speak to your days there and what you did?
That's my first ship, and then my second ship. The first ship was the USS Thomas Jefferson. It's a fleet ballistic missile submarine that carried 16 missiles aft of the sail, and they were Polaris missiles. The Jefferson was one of the second generation. It was a second 5. But I was a nuclear reactor operator. I went through 2 years of training as an electronics technician, and then 12 months in nuclear power school. Wow. And then coming to the boat and requalifying again. And I sat at the reactor plant control panel and made sure the temperature didn't go out of spec.
Were you worried? I mean, about, I don't know, being on a nuclear ship? I mean, that's crazy.
Okay.
Did it bother you? Did you give across? I guess you were young.
George, the physics today, the missiles come from high and go to low.
Right.
So I'm perfectly happy 400 feet below the ocean where the last place the missiles go. And the old saying that there are two kinds of ships, submarines and targets.
Yeah. And you were?
I was on the submarine and basically made the screw go roundy so we get from Liberty Port to Liberty Port.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. I mean, just military in general, and you being in the Navy and working on a nuclear ship. But there's all sorts of stories. Being in the Navy and working in close quarters in the submarine and all that. I mean,
it was like we went out to sea as 120 guys and came back as 60 couples.
All right, I'll take that.
That's not true, but that's what a lot of people say.
I know. That's funny stuff. So, one of the cool things about this show is the chats, and when people chat in I'm sure we'll get to them. But I wanted to move on to a story, a fascinating story that you spoke of yesterday on our pre-call of a Jack Walker, and he I'm going to put him up here. Um, Tell us this story because it's really a fascinating story of
Jack
this man.
Walker, when I think of Jack Walker, I think of Forrest Gump.
Hmm.
He always showed up at interesting places doing interesting things. Jack Walker passed away a few years ago. Last
Oh,
time I saw him was on his 93rd birthday. But when he was 5 years old, his mother was a notable pilot. Now we're talking in the middle 20s,
wow.
and for a woman to be,
Yeah.
she taught Jack how to fly, and
How old
and
was Jack?
Jack was 5 or 6 or 7 years old,
Damn.
and during that time, he met some of the notable pilots of the era, and he actually flew a hop with a gentleman named Charles Lindbergh and a lady named Amelia Earhart.
Oh my God.
Lindbergh presented him with a replica, a very large replica of the Spirit of St. Louis, which
Wow.
is displayed in the Oakland airport. And
Damn.
and he continued to fly. And when World War II came about, he had 700 flight hours and he owned a Franklin biplane. So the Navy, in its infinite wisdom, made him a convoy gunner.
Oh my God.
Now
They didn't understand who they were dealing with.
he didn't let that time go to waste. He spent some time on that and went to North Africa, learned how to be a frogman, and became one of the early SEALs. Ended up in the Pacific,
Jeez.
and fished a Marine out of the water and won a Silver Star. Um, Jack was a bona fide hero, and
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
and when they invaded an island, say like Iwo Jima, he was one of the first ones out there planting explosives and making lanes so the guys could get to the shore.
So
And
Rick, I have this picture that I want to show, but I want you to set it up. So Jack, like you said, he was like the Forrest Gump. He's everywhere. He makes himself available for all these moments in history. So tell the folks out there where he was when a certain picture was photographed.
according to Jack, he was standing about 3 feet to the left of Joe Rosenthal,
Uh-huh.
an Associated Press photographer, on the top of Mount Suribachi when a bunch of Marines climbed up on the hill and put up a flag.
And the flag was the famous picture.
And the flag was a famous picture that became the Iwo Jima monument in
That's
DC.
that's amazing. That really is. It's incredible that this man has witnessed this firsthand in history, and
Well,
he probably didn't even know it at the time, right? I mean, he didn't know.
Jack was a pretty self-aware guy. He knew he was near an AP photographer. He knew it was an event because it was about the third time that day they had put up a flag. One of the Navy ship captains sent his guys in. The Marines did it. It was pretty common when we took an island that they would perform this ceremony, but it was Joe Rosenthal who got the epic photograph. But Jack seemed to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He
That's
went on to be a test pilot for Douglas aircraft.
oh really? Oh wow, wow. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean he lived a full life. But I mean he recently
Well
passed.
into his 90s.
Yeah, yeah. When was that picture of him taken when you met him? When I mean, how
The
old?
one that you just showed,
Yeah, how old was he there?
I believe that was 2007. He was
Okay.
87.
Oh, okay, okay.
And that was at a parade
Right.
probably early on.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
according to you read the article, it was right after his wife passed away.
I mean,
But
that's something you make a movie out of. I mean,
well, Jack had a lot of stories.
yeah,
And, the thing about it, George, is, there were a million guys that came back from Europe with stories, and each and every one of them had a special story. Every one of
yeah,
them was in a historic place at a
yeah.
certain time.
It's true.
They were our greatest generation.
They really were. I mean, my dad too. I mean, he fought, in France, and well, he had stories too. But to move on, you got you have so much knowledge of just certain things, and you became an author. How did writing enter your life? I mean, how did this all happen for you? For your, I mean, you're best-selling author of the Brilliant series. How did this all happen?
I retired about 10 years ago, George, and I did not have a task. I did not have a purpose,
Hmm.
but I did have a manuscript of The Apes of Eden, a 700-page poem written by a sea buddy who is incredibly intelligent. He's the smartest human being I know. He's a magician, mathematician, reactor operator.
Wow.
He's a member of the Florida Bar. He's an MBA. He's fun to talk to. And when he was a kid, when he was about 14 or 15, he wrote this 700-page poem, which I then got his permission to publish. And I got into authors groups and the San Diego Writers Editors Guild, met some other authors who wanted their books published or worked on. And that has kept me busy for about the last 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
At some point, I looked at what my authors were doing and I said, I can do that too. And I had this idea based on a Star Wars movie, and I took it from there. My first book is called Brilliant,
Right.
and the series is called StarCruiser Brilliant. The inspiration. Do you remember the opening scene of Return of the Jedi where they're flying with Jabba the Hutt over the Imperial sand dunes?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, why not? What if StarCruiser Brilliant had an engineering casualty and got sent 200 years back in the past, and they wind up circling the Earth in an alternative timeline, and they happen to look down on the Imperial sand dunes, and there's a starship there, and they get a little closer and they find out it's a movie set. And so that's the beginning. That's the beginning of StarCruiser Brilliant.
Oh, wow, wow. I mean,
And the main lead character is Jennifer, she's a girl with a 206 IQ searching for her father, gets a Hollywood internship where they make the movie StarCruiser Brilliant. She finds out Brilliant flies into space.
so I got some chats here. People are chatting in about it, and well, just going back a little bit about Jack and how that was amazing, and yeah, it's true. Too bad some of these people don't see that and respect them today. It's true. It's brilliant. Oh God. Wow, that's it. That's incredible. I mean, so best-selling for young adults. The book is made for young adults to read, but I mean anybody can read it. But it's made for that genre, right?
My target audience is a precocious 10-year-old girl.
Oh.
But most adults that like science fiction can read it, and it's a very fast, easy read. and they can pick it up and put it down in about 6 or 8 hours. And I designed it like a movie script, so that if somebody comes calling after I sell 1 million books, I've sold about 1 millionth of that now. But but you know, I would love to have it made into a movie, but that's not realistic for an independent author publisher.
Yeah, so let's touch on that a little bit. So you're also a publisher, an independent publisher, and other projects come on your lap. You know, they enter into your world, and you read them, and you act as the publisher for that.
Correct. Or the book I'm working on right now, the author himself will be the publisher, but I'll just provide the editing, formatting, cover services for him.
Okay. All right. Wow. And how long have you had that going on for you? iCrew Publishing.
I picked up Kent's book Apes of Eden in about 2011 or about 2014, and I published it.
Oh wow. Okay. So now, again, we turn the page from being an author to being a statistician, a sports statistician, where across all sports, is basketball, football, baseball. Do you do hockey too?
I've done hockey. I've done women's water polo for the NCAA championships when San Diego State hosted it. Done a lot of soccer, volleyball.
How did you get into that? Because, I mean, being a stat guy, I mean, I'll put up an example, what we're talking about here, where, I'll blow one of these up here. You can dive in a little bit. Let's blow into the what is it, the national championship one, and just describe here what people should look at, or is this something that falls in your lap as a statistician?
This will be on a computer screen in front of me.
Okay.
And I will listen to what my announcers are saying, and I will pick off the numbers that make them sound more intelligent. If they're talking about an individual player, you know, I'll write his stats on my little whiteboard and hold it in front of him. Usually the analyst, the color commentator, is talking, and then the play-by-play guy will pick up what I have written for him on the board, and it makes him sound smarter. And then if I see something stat-wise that stands out, that's important, I'll write that on the whiteboard as well. And then I also feed that down to the television graphics truck, to the Chiron operators.
Oh, okay. This is, you know, it goes off on, you know, on TV, and this is what everybody else sees, and you know, all the lower third stuff that you see out there, all the stats that come across.
The score in the upper left-hand corner is called the bug. That's a technical term. And now, like the halftime stats you see here, I will feed those to him at the end of the first half. Then the bug. Usually the bug, the score bug, is operated by a different individual than the Chiron.
I see.
Who fills in live stats.
Wow, that's really cool, man. And then I have you know, you're in the booth and you're working alongside, you know, broadcasters, and you're feeding them the information. And you have a story. Is it the John Madden story? You got to tell that one.
One time, the Dallas came into town against the Chargers. Chargers had been to the Super Bowl, and the Dallas was still on top of their game. So they were considered the two best teams in NFL at the time. And Fox called over to San Diego State and asked for some utility stats guys. So I showed up I worked inside the truck, and they asked me to keep the information on first down, what the teams do on first down and what they gain, like run, pass,
Right.
how many
Right.
yards.
Right.
About the third quarter, Dallas made a first down, and I gave the graphics guy a stat. I said that when Dallas passed on first down, they gained 11, and when they ran on first down, they lost 1.6. So Dallas comes up on first down, and the greatest runner in the history of the NFL, Emmitt Smith, lost 2 yards. John Madden had looked at that before the play, and you see where the Chargers are keying on their defense. And when you put up a graphic, usually they're boring. Graphics are history.
Right.
But when you make a prediction and it comes true, there's some serious high fives in the truck, and
Wow.
it makes for good television.
Yeah, no, it's like you called it, and actually you did, and you made Madden look like a genius, and there you go. You're the brains behind the operation. What tools do you use? I mean, what is your tool set for stats?
In that particular case, generally it's a pencil and paper.
A pencil and paper.
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, in other words, a computer is a little bit unwieldy for one person to operate. Now, in basketball and football in the NCAA, there's one guy that operates the stats computer. He types in the whole game. He's got a spotter. But when I'm doing utility stats or something, or working with my announcers, I have a pen for my whiteboard, and I have pen and paper for to keep a log of what I need.
So
and
you're constantly busy, man.
That's why I love it.
That's why you love it.
Why I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I go through a boring week with my job as a teacher, which is not that boring, but then I get to spend 3 hours on a Saturday night and immersed in highly technical work with really smart people.
And what did you teach? Hold on. Let me guess. Math.
Computers, video productions.
Yeah. That's fascinating, man. And so you're still doing it today. It's
haven't done the statistician for a while.
Okay.
They've things have changed. We don't have the Chargers in San Diego anymore, and people have moved on.
Well, you got football starting tonight, so we gotta look for the stats out there, and hopefully we educated somebody out there on certain things, So, but upon everything else, you're a public address announcer, sports announcer, in football stadiums and in baseball stadiums. You did some stuff at Petco Park.
I announced the very, very first Friday night baseball game at Petco Park, which was a college tournament, which they were warming up the stadium with University of San Diego. And the picture in the upper left-hand corner is at Tony Gwynn Stadium. And that is Tony Gwynn on the right.
Yeah, Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn.
He passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I was doing the baseball, the San Diego section baseball champions that day.
Nice. Yeah. And you're and again, you got so much stuff. I mean, the public address for basketball, football. I mean, you're all over the place. Don't you get tired?
Well,
That's
you
a
know,
stupid question.
if somebody calls me and says you go to work, I go to work.
You go to
And
work, right, right, right.
like now, interestingly, you didn't mention it, but that picture right there of the referee, that is a robotics competition.
Robotics, yes, I picked that off. I used to do some robotics stuff back in the day on the video end of the world, and
Yeah.
I was involved with the robotics competition for high school students. But that's awesome, man. I mean, so you got iCrew Digital production. So now you're mentoring young professional or young media community, young adults,
Young media
young
professionals,
media professionals. Um,
but
Now,
basically smart kids that like to be a part of events.
yeah, yeah,
We did assemblies, we did sports, photography, websites, audio, video production,
yeah. That's good
and we
stuff.
had a lot of fun. And I've had some pretty good students too.
And I noticed, is that was that Miss California?
Correct, correct. Marina, when I was teaching at Hilltop, Marina and Sarah was one of my students,
Right.
and she was the prototypical trooper. I mean, if it was a cold Wednesday night, it was raining, she had a cold, she still got her butt out of bed, came down and
Wow.
did the national anthem for the basketball game. She was that kind of kid.
Ah, wow.
And
She's a trooper.
and and her she used a quote from Henry Ford: failure is the opportunity to intelligently begin again.
Mm.
She went from what I knew to Miss San Diego, and which entitled her to go to Miss California. So she went to the Miss California pageant and lost. She went again and lost. Two more times she lost, and then the fifth time she became Miss California.
Oh, wow.
So persistence, and
Yeah,
then
you got to
she
do it,
became
man.
a animal trainer at SeaWorld.
Is she really?
And she just got back from Dubai. She spent 2 years at the Atlantis as their trainer.
Huh. That's very cool. Well, she's got a future ahead of her.
And I had just to mention a couple other students. Joel, I had him for 1 year, and he went to Cal Arts. And his senior year, he was in the credit roll for the 75th Academy Awards.
Oh, nice.
And my friend, one of my former students, Dante, travels around the world with concerts as an IATSE member, as an electrician.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I've had some good kids that I'm really proud of.
yeah, and I'm sure they appreciate the time spent with you and the mentoring and all that that you showed them. I mean, that time in your life as a kid, not knowing the craft and learning by someone like yourself, it's like a blank slate, and you can mold them, you teach them the right way, the fundamental way, and you get I don't know, it's just like what's the word I'm looking for? It's
Well, you're looking for somebody
or
to model after. And
yeah, yeah,
and I'm not a great model, but I do okay, and I give the kids
yeah,
I give the kids opportunities to shine. And we had some fun sayings. Our standard is not Hilltop High School; it's ABC, NBC, and CBS. Um, and
Those days
and
as a sailor, Rick, are really coming out, and all those one-liners that you spent down in the tube there, it's all coming out at you, huh?
Well, that Navy was, God, that was 40 years ago now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it was an interesting time, and I was able to quickly transition into teaching.
Yeah.
And then I was a weekend warrior for announcing and television.
Yeah, that's awesome. So now, how did you get into Toastmasters? Now, I mean, when I saw this, I was like, Toastmasters. Wait a second now. Toastmasters? How did this all come to be?
Toastmasters is a club. Um, I mentioned this to you earlier. I like to show off, and and Toastmasters allows you to give a speech 2 or 3 minutes, or 5 or 6 or 7 minutes every day.
Huh.
A new person coming into Toastmasters is given a booklet that contains 10 speech projects. And that's how they begin to become a competent communicator. And then they go through the other steps until they become a distinguished Toastmaster. I didn't complete that, but there it gives a new person who has stage fright and is afraid of standing in front of groups. It gives them the ability and the experience and the tricks to be able to stand up there comfortably and run a meeting.
Right.
One of the things in all the things I watch, sports, television, whatever, and you will understand this as well. The way to get better is to up the speed of your game.
Right.
In other words, the difference between an elementary school basketball team and Michael Jordan is the speed at which things happen on the floor.
Right.
And as you go up the line of experience, you find, and Toastmasters gives new speakers a chance to run a meeting, give a speech, think on their feet, give them impromptu speeches, and they gain experience, and they catch up with the speed of the game.
We have a chat here. Do they let you unload trucks? I guess with your time spent in there.
I have done that. I loaded out a Michael Jackson
Wow.
Michael Jackson's Cirque du Soleil concert for IATSE as a union member.
So
but
an
yeah,
extreme amount of talent is I guess a compliment to you as to all that you do with Toastmasters. And now there's another club that you've joined, the Optimist Club.
Correct. Optimus is our goal is to bring out the best in children. We provide funding for athletics, for cancer in kids, in various other service activities, and we party a lot. And I am the webmaster for the Southern California Southern District, which extends from San Diego all the way to Yuma.
Oh wow! And that's the current club that you're in now.
I'm in a club called Imperial Beach Toastmasters, which is about as far south and as far west as you can possibly get.
Well, how am I doing? I mean, you're the pro here. Am I doing okay?
You're keeping me busy, keeping me talking. That's all you got to do, George.
That's all you got to do. That's part of it, right? So, what you've done in your life up to this point is incredible, and the things and projects that you were involved with. So, what do you have coming up shortly or next in your rotation of projects?
Well, one regret is this will be the first year in 36 years that I haven't done high school football because we aren't playing in California yet. And I'm working on my third book. It's called Siberians, not S-I, but C-Y, as in robots.
So you're sticking with the
And
sci-fi stuff. Okay.
correct, this will be book 3 of StarCruiser Brilliant.
Oh, okay.
It'll be the third book on the series with the same characters and the same ideas. And I'm also helping a fellow named Tom Leach, Leech,
Mm-hmm.
with his book, which is called Titillating Tales from the Outhouse,
What a
which is
title that is.
yeah, it's an anthology of outhouse poems and stories.
Wait a minute. Outhouse poems and stories. I'm not
George,
even.
you live in a sound you live in a city of 8 million people, and each one has its individual story.
No, I
And you
know.
got to believe that
I
a
guess
handful of
I guess you get stories, while you're, doing number two, if that makes sense. Um, I guess, right? That's what the outhouse part of the stories is, right?
um, it's not they're funny stories, but they're old, and he's compiled an anthology, and they're pretty good stories. And
Yeah.
he's got some limericks, and it'll make you laugh. It follows up his last book he did was called Fun on the Job, which had Rosie the Riveter on the cover, about his career as an engineer with Convair General Dynamics, and the Atlas program, meeting the astronauts.
Rick, it was fascinating to have you on tonight. I can't thank you enough for joining me. You're a fascinating guy. I mean, you've done so much, and you know so much, and keep at it. Don't quit. As my dad used to say, don't ever quit your job, because that's not good.
Well, your job is to breathe in and breathe out, and if you quit that, then it ain't. Then the fat lady's singing.
And then the fat lady's singing, exactly. No, seriously. Thanks for coming in tonight on Buzz Talk Live.
Thank you, George.
All righty. Hang right there. This has been incredible tonight. We learned a lot about Rick's careers in what he does, and all the incredible stories, and statistician, Toastmasters. Where does it end? What an incredible guy. And I wish him a lot of luck on his next book, and hopefully it's a success, and with his business as a publisher. So Sunday night, come back Sunday night. We're gonna have Julie back, Julie Hewitt, the makeup artist from Hollywood. I think they got her power back. Everything's gonna be fine. She confirmed with me today, so we're gonna have Julie back on the show at 9 p.m., 6 p.m. Pacific, on Sunday night. So tune back in to watch Julie and learn about Hollywood makeup artistry and her business. And I'll see you then. And thanks again for tuning in tonight. I appreciate the chats. I appreciate the follows. And I don't know what else to say, but good night, America.